I think it's extremely important that we, within the mindset of using data, we'll have data from everywhere. We'll have data from ourselves when we're walking through the city. We'll have data from the traffic lights, from the buildings, from everywhere around us. That we are, first of all, very conscious about that. What are, which data is available for whom? So we talk about the privacy, who can access my data, and be careful about that we respect that privacy within data collection, but also within data management. Can I share data across different organizations? Can I share it between users and organizations? What am I willing to give away as a citizen? And here today, of course, we give a lot of data away without actually knowing it. I mean, all of us got installed an app on our smartphone, and we don't really check what it is we're giving away and to whom. So I think there is a general thing that we as society, all of us, need to discuss about privacy and what comes with it. But then, having said that, we also have, from a technology point of view, we have a need for making sure that we keep the data secure. That is secure in the collection of it. That is secure in terms of saying where do we keep it, how do we keep it, not only privacy, but secure in terms of what there is. One example is who can hack a camera of me walking down the street. You might say it's quite innocent, but it means you can start tracking where I am if you're able to do this. And there I think it's important that we use technology the right way to secure our data, to make sure we secure the network that collects the data, that we are aware about security in the different applications and devices that we have, and then added this privacy part, which is much more you could say a top level, but also much more a discussion point. What is privacy? What does it mean for me? And how do we want to protect it also for our children in the future? It shouldn't be an afterthought, but I think it's important that we decide at what point is it, my data. At what point is it, if I'm driving in my car through the city, I know where I am. If the car knows where I am, then the car manufacturer knows where I am. If I'm driving through a smart city, then the traffic lights know where I am. Do we need to, as a society, to be able to use that data to say that it's me, Jane, driving the car on this road at this time? Or do we need to be able to collect the data and say, we know that the trend of people moving through the traffic in the city is moving like this, and therefore we can create a better city, we can create a greener city, we can use all of the data in a kind of anonymous way. But in order to do that, we need to have made a decision on who's dividing between what is my private data and who do I give it over and trust in order to create the trend of all the people in the smart city. So I would say it's not given that where the level, that's often the discussion point, but when we use algorithms for designing our whole society, where is the level between what is me as a private and me as part of a society? But I think it's quite important we have the discussion before we implement solutions, because as soon as you make it a technical solution, it just becomes technology, and then we sort of we can't apply it afterwards. We need to have it in the design thought of what we're doing. So I would say that you are, Nokia is very much in the communications industry, which means when we look at, for instance, mobile networks, what is the data available in the mobile network? I don't need to know in a mobile network that it's you that is moving. I need to know somebody's moving. And that aggregation of data, which means at what point can I disconnect the trend from you, it can actually happen quite early in the phases, but that means that the level of discussions is happening already on the network level and not on the application level above. And from a Nokia point of view, that means we're looking at where can we apply analytics, how early can we apply it for the different parts of getting trends. And then for the other part of it, the security part, we talk a lot about network security, we talk about data security, how do we make sure that the individual users and devices within a network is actually kept in a secure matter around it, which very much, ties again security, privacy within a smart city and using the algorithms on the data. But it's important for us in Nokia, and what we're working on is really saying what level of analytics do you need to apply for which level. Do I need to know that it's you? No, I can use the same analytics just to know it is somebody moving through the city. I wish that we were better at discussing it, because that level of trust is something we need to discuss. Who do we trust with our lives? And at the moment, it's not a discussion that is, I would say, that is largely happening, because we all install apps on our smartphones, and do we know who we're giving over the data to? So sometimes it becomes like a little bit of a strange argumentation, right? I don't trust people with my data, but I don't have a problem sending it to a software developer because he's making a fantastic piece of code I can use for something. So I wish that we would be better and more open in the discussions, because it's a discussion we need to have. Everybody. It needs to be a combination, because if it's government only, then that's good and bad. If it's companies only, it's good and bad. If it's citizens only, it often becomes, so we need to have all of it. It needs to be an open discussion around all of it, because everybody's got a stake. As I said, if you look again in a smart city, who owns the traffic lights? Who owns the car? Who owns who is the user? And who's collecting the data if you're driving around your mobile as well? So there's data so many points, so you can't say that a discussion needs to happen in a closed group. It needs to happen throughout the whole spectrum of people involved. I would definitely say that the benefit is to have, as I said, a lot of this is about having the discussions. If we don't have events like this, we're not going to be able to discuss it. We're not going to have all the opinions out, so we are able to find the right level of use of data. Because of course we talk about algorithms today, but what do we use them for? Algorithms only work if there's data, and the data is the important part. Do we trust the data? Is it clear who owns it? Can we use it, and what do we use it for? I think that's so for me it's very, very beneficial. Yes.